Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time frame you're in around the world. I'm Theron Alexander, and once again, talking about resilience today. Things are moving swiftly in our cities, in our states, in our countries, and everyone is feeling the pain and the frustration, the fears, and the worries of COVID 19. We've been through difficult times before as a nation, as a people, as a world. We've gone through plagues and illnesses, diseases, and they really, unfortunately, wreak havoc in human lives. But we, as a people, will overcome. It's not easy, it's difficult, it's challenging to every household, every couple, every person, every child, every mother, every father, every grandparent, co-workers, first responders, nurses, doctors, preachers, pastors, educators. This pandemic is affecting everyone. That's why it's so important that we pull together as a community, as a nation, as one to defeat this thing, to overcome it, and prayerfully, hopefully, come out of it even better, more united, more wiser, stronger to deal with the challenges of life. So it's important to have the factor, the X factor, I'll call it, the power of resilience working for you. Psychologists define resilience as the process of adapting well or adjusting in the face of adversity, tragedy, trauma, significant stressors, and change that occurs in life. Everyone experiences stress, pain, some type of setback or loss. But with resilience, it will enable us to bounce back, to persevere, and to cope despite the challenges and find ways to be more innovative, creative, stronger, wiser, and to grow and to develop in ways that we wouldn't even imagine we could, perhaps. So it's important for us to utilize and capitalize and really become more resilient in every aspect of our life. And some of the ways we develop or increase our capacity to be resilient is to embrace and foster a life of wellness. And some of us are really getting the chance to look at our lives and to examine ourselves where we are individually with our health, with our spirituality, with our parenting, with our finances, with our businesses, with our individual lives. And we're coming under the microscope to see exactly what we're made of and what will it take for us to persevere and to overcome these challenges. So to foster wellness, we have to develop good habits, good positive habits. Self-care, we've heard of it. Some of us teach it, and it's discussed across the airwaves, television programs, and throughout Facebook and social media outlets. But how many of us actually practice self-care habits each day? We've got to develop positive, good habits in order to foster wellness. A habit is an activity that we do on a regular basis, a routine basis, and it becomes a part of our life and usually done daily. What kind of habits do you have right now that can foster wellness? Well, it's important to look at ourselves and say, what can I do to improve self-care in my own life? Because when we are wealthy or healthy and better ourselves, we're in a position to be more effective in helping others. Self care is critical in order for us to help our children, to help our parents, our aging grandparents, or whoever, our coworkers, our first responders, our community, our pastors, our leaders. We have to be in a place where we are healthy and that we have the confidence to reach out and help others. So it's critical for us to look at these areas, and I will be touching on these throughout our discussions of resilience throughout our time, throughout the month of May. We'll be looking at self-care in the spiritual aspect and mentally, physically, emotionally. And we have to start with self-love, self-confidence. Do you value yourself? Do you see yourself as a worthy individual who deserves good things in life? So you have to have a healthy perspective of your own life in order to create and develop those habits that will push you to foster wellness in your life and to be able to combat the difficulties and the stressors. Many parents are having to work, take care of their kids, help their kids with their education because of the schools are closed down momentarily. And so it's going to take everything that we have, not just to survive, but we want to thrive in the midst of this pandemic. And many of us have had to be resilient, have had to learn resilience because the loss of a child, the loss of a job, the loss of financial stability, our health failing, marriages crumbling, divorces, financial ruins, whatever. All of us must have this X factor, resiliency, working for us. Each talk we have on resilience and how to create positive habits that will foster wellness, I'm going to end our discussion talking about someone who has exampled resiliency throughout American history or world history. So I want to end our talk today with an individual we all know well, our 16th president, Abraham Lincoln. This man was an amazing character, an amazing figure in our human history. And I think about him as I read books on him and grew up hearing about his journey and his story. And this man had just the ability to come back after setback, after setback, after failure, after losses, after tragedies, traumas. What was it about Abraham Lincoln that kept him coming back and to finish his life in the public arena that impacted the world, impacted the United States of America, that was at a crossroads with the Civil War? But he was born in poverty. He lost 8 elections. His mother died when he was 9 years of age. The story says, and history says, that he was engaged to his sweetheart and she died, and he was devastated. He was depressed, brokenhearted, but was able to bounce back from it. In 1843, history says he ran for Congress and lost. In 1845, he ran for the Senate and lost. He sought the vice president nomination and lost that. But this man went from tragedy to loss to setback, not to mention the upheaval that was going on in America, or the unions. But this man, in 1858, he ran for the U.S. Senate and he lost. But how many know in 1860 he became the 16th president of these United States of America? And he was in the midst of the toughest times and had to make some critical decisions about where we would move forward in with slavery and the unions and the divisions going on in these United States. But I believe that all the things from his childhood, tragedies and traumas and setbacks and difficulties as a teenager and then a young adult, losing office, not winning those elections, and then finding the strength within, developing those positive habits. He had to foster wellness mentally, spiritually, physically, building his confidence step by step over the years to become the 16th president of the United States, and who delivered Gettysburg addresses and Emancipation proclamations that delivered and set people free to be all that they were meant to be. This one man, I believe, was destined to become one of the greatest public figures and presidents of these United States because he learned the power of resilience. He lived it. He exemplified it. So it's up to us today, my friends, to foster wellness, to build these positive habits, to be a person that is resilient from start to finish, and finish strong, and be a person who will not quit, but fulfills your purpose, fulfills our purpose, and impact a generation, a community, nations, and to make our mark in history that would never be erased. Have a great day. Be safe. We love you. And the best is yet to come.